Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder and former CEO of the insolvent cryptocurrency exchange FTX, is charged with 8 counts in a federal indictment and faces a maximum sentence of 115 years in prison if found guilty. The fact that the 30-year-old who served as the public face of the cryptocurrency industry could be sentenced to life in prison highlights the gravity of the accusations made against him by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. So what's going on with SBF? Please let us know in the comments and keep watching. Hello and welcome back to our channel. In this video, we'll discuss whether SBF will spend the rest of his life behind bars. If so, what is actually happening? Who's involved? Let's get started now. Nick Ackerman, a former assistant U.S. attorney who prosecuted white-collar crime for the Southern District of New York, says, "My sense is he's going to face some pretty serious time here." Ackerman estimates that the defendant will receive at least a 10-year sentence, but possibly even more depending on the information that comes to light later in the investigation. Ackerman is not a party to the dispute, but his judgment is based on the charges contained in the open indictment. Bankman-Fried is accused of conspiring to commit commodities and securities fraud, wire fraud against clients and lenders, 1 count of money laundering, and 1 count relating to campaign finance laws. According to federal law, a single count of wire fraud carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. According to the federal lawsuit, which was unsealed on Tuesday, Bankman-Fried defrauded investors and customers to channel billions of dollars into his other businesses, including his trading firm, Alameda Research, and was largely to blame for FTX's demise. When FTX filed for bankruptcy protection in November, Bankman-Fried left his position there. According to legal experts, the company owes money to over 1 million individuals and organizations. It owes $3.1 billion to its top 50 creditors alone. In addition, Bankman-Fried is accused of defrauding investors by the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, or CFTC. In public statements and in congressional testimony that he was scheduled to give on Tuesday, the day after his arrest, Bankman-Fried has claimed that he was not aware of the full scope of the issues and that he did not intend to mix customer money with Alameda's investments. According to Ackerman, the length of any prison sentence Bankman-Fried receives, if the prosecution succeeds in their case, will be influenced by the size of the alleged crime, a multi-billion-dollar fraud committed against customers and lenders over a number of years. Ackerman says that although the indictment from Tuesday was somewhat bare bones, there will likely be a follow-up indictment that names co-conspirators and provides more information. Ackerman asserts that this is just a tip of the iceberg. There are numerous parties involved in this. Bankman-Fried is obviously presumed innocent until proven guilty. There are also hints that he's already putting together a strong legal defense. The former billionaire, who has since claimed to be worth more than $100,000, has been with Bankman-Fried since November. His parents, who are both Stanford University law professors, were present for his initial hearing on Tuesday in the Bahamas. Sam Bankman-Fried, the former CEO of FTX, is currently facing criminal charges that could land him in prison for the rest of his life, may be granted bail in the United States prior to his trial, according to a December 21st report from Reuters. Bankman-Fried, also known as SBF, was reportedly offered bail on terms of a $250 million bond, home detention, location monitoring, and the surrender of his passport by prosecutor Nicholas Roos. The New York Times reported on December 22nd that SBF's bail had been approved and that he would be moving back in with his parents in Palo Alto, California. His parents used the equity in their home to pay for his bail. SBF had earlier stated that he had just $100,000 in his bank account following the demise of the business he founded and his resignation as its CEO. The bail request was approved by U.S. Magistrate Judge Gabriel Gorenstein in a federal district court in Manhattan. He also stated that SBF would need strict pre-trial supervision, which would include mental health treatment and assessment. SBF is well known for having depression and taking prescription drugs. SBF has accepted the terms proposed. According to his defense attorney, SBF was detained in the Bahamas at the request of American authorities, but no bail was offered because of the risk of him fleeing. On December 20th, the Federal Bureau of Investigation took him back to the country. On the same day that Caroline Ellison and Gary Wang, 2 former co-workers, entered a guilty plea to fraud-related charges, this decision was made. Both individuals are helping with the investigation. Ellison escaped charges that could have resulted in a 100-year prison sentence. Nishad Singh, a former FTX executive, who together with Wang and Ellison made up SBF's inner circle at the company, has not yet been mentioned by the authorities. SBF's next court appearance is set for January 5, 2023. and the case has now been assigned to a prominent judge overseeing the Trump case. On Tuesday, a federal judge from Manhattan was elected to preside over the Sam Bankman-Fried cryptocurrency case. This judge is known for rendering judgments quickly and having a no-nonsense demeanor. The case was given to Judge Louis A. Kaplan after the original judge withdrew because her husband worked for a law firm that handled cases involving FTX, Bankman-Fried's defunct cryptocurrency exchange. E. Kaplan is presiding over a civil lawsuit brought by former Elle magazine advice columnist Jean Carroll against Donald Trump. Carroll alleges that Trump sexually assaulted her in a dressing room of an upscale Manhattan department store in 1995 or 1996. Trump denies the accusation. April will see a trial. Before the two parties reached a settlement earlier this year, Kaplan presided over accusations of sex assault against Prince Andrew brought forth by an American woman. Andrew agreed to donate to the women's charity and claimed he never intended to hurt her reputation. Andrew asked Kaplan to dismiss the case before the settlement, but Kaplan refused. SBF allegations versus the prominent trials of Kaplan. On his trading platform, Bankman-Fried is alleged to have stolen customer deposits and defrauded investors. He was detained in the Bahamas 2 weeks ago, and last week he was extradited to the US. He was granted an electronic monitoring bracelet to wear while living with his parents in Palo Alto, California, and was released on Thursday after posting a $250 million personal recognizance bond. Kaplan, who's 78, has been a senior member of the Manhattan Federal Court for more than 10 years. In 1994, Bill Clinton put forth his name for the bench. According to authorities, the first federal investigation into Bitcoin securities fraud was one of many significant financial cases and high-profile trials he presided over. Kaplan sentenced the defendant to 18 months in prison. In 2014, he forbade the use of U.S. courts to enforce a $9 billion Ecuadorian judgment against Chevron for rainforest damage, claiming that the attorneys in the case tarnished an honorable endeavor with improper and illegal behavior. After being found guilty in a college basketball scam in which a former Adidas executive and 2 other people paid families to persuade top recruits to play for schools sponsored by the shoemaker, Kaplan sentenced 3 men to prison in 2019. After another actor claimed Spacey tried to molest him in his apartment after a party when the actor was 14 and Spacey was 26, Kaplan presided over the most recent civil trial involving Spacey. The jury sided with Kevin Spacey because the evidence did not support Anthony Rapp's case. The former billionaire appears to be leading a fairly respectable life while under house arrest in comparison to his prison quarters in the Bahamas. Sam Bankman-Fried has reportedly been maintaining a respectable standard of living while under house arrest at his parents' Palo Alto residence. He reportedly goes for daily jogs, has a security detail, and receives a few in-home visits. But it's also not exactly a life of unending luxury. Among other restrictions, the former FTX CEO is reportedly required to wear an ankle monitor and is only permitted to leave the house in specific situations. According to real estate listings, the aforementioned Palo Alto residence, which is situated on the edge of Stanford University's campus, is thought to be a $4 million home with 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and a pool. Bankman-Fried has reportedly received death threats, and his home has evolved into something of a tourist attraction for curious onlookers. As a result, the property has had to be barricaded on both ends. What are your thoughts on this? Enter your comments in the box below. Ring the bell and subscribe to our channel to make sure you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. We'll see you in the next video.